Okay, so sorry about that, guys. I had a little bit of a network issue right now, right then. Okay, so I was talking about our scale property, and it's like anytime you are scaling now, it's scaling down out of this anchor point. So let's say I move my anchor point here now, and I increase and reduce my scale. You can see it's scaling now from this point here. And it's the same thing that's going to happen with our rotation. If I rotate it like this, it's rotating from that anchor point. You understand? That's why I actually need to understand what the anchor point is and why it's very, very important. Now this is our position, and this is our anchor point, this thing, our position too, right here. Now what you have here and our timeline, this is our timeline here. I'm going to explain the two of them at the same time. For example, our timeline here, this is just showing you, okay, around this time what is going to happen. So it's going from 0 to 10 seconds because we set it like that when we're creating our composition. So that is why our timeline is actually like that. Now what we have here is called keyframes. This is how we create keyframes, and keyframes are just basically, at this point in time I want you to do this. That's what your keyframe is. At this point in time, do this. At this point in time, do this. At this point in time, I want you to be at this place. I want you to do this at this place. So let's say, for example, I want this shoe to move in from outside in. So I'll come to my selection tool here, and I say, okay, at the beginning here, because see our timeline is at the beginning here, I'm just going to drag it outside. Now I'm going to make a keyframe at this position here. Let's say I'm coming down to 1 second here, and I say, okay, at 1 second now I want this shoe to be inside our timeline like this. This thing is too big, let's reduce it. Okay, let's see like this. Okay, now you can see it has created this two diamond shaped things here, and basically those are keyframes. So if you play it back from here, it's moving in. So at this point in time it's here, at this point in time is also going, this is going to be here. So that is what your keyframe is. Okay, let's say around 2:15 here, I want this to be outside in the other way, so I'll move it outside here. Now if you want to move it in a straight line, let me tell you guys, hold down shift so you can move it very, very straight. Okay, like that. Now from here, now like this, you will see from here it's just continue going outside. But I say no, okay, now that it's moving like this, I want it to pause in this middle here before it continues going where it's going. So let's say here, and let's just move this to the center of our composition like this. Then if I come to around 1:15 here, when it's supposed to be at this point in time here, and I say at this 1:15 I still want it to be at the back here, let's say here, and I drop it there, you will now see, if you play it back, that it stops before it continues. So that is the importance of our timeline here. Okay, let's just delete all these keyframes here. And now let's do the same thing with our scale. Okay, let's say at the beginning of our timeline here, I want it to be big like this. So I make a keyframe on our timeline. Let's say I come down to around 0.15 frames here, and I just scale it down like this. So now we have this simple animation, and it looks clean and it looks good. So that is why you have your keyframes down here. Now next thing I'm going to show you guys is, I'm going to show you guys this part, this left dialog box here. And now this place has a lot of things, and if you guys don't see anything, you can just go to workspace and change it to all panels. So that is why mine might look more than your own. I just change my workspace to all panels here. Now this is your property. For example, if you see it here, you can see that you have a reputation of what is down here, up here. That is your property. Info, audio. Now if you have an audio inside, this will be measuring the decibel of your audio, and this is your this is your effects and presets panel, and this is where you are going to spend a lot of time in After Effects, this effect and preset panel, because this is where you're going to be adding effects, a lot of effects. For example, let's say shatter. If I apply shatter now, I'm just going to click on it and drag it either to here on top what I want to drop it on, or I can drop it on one of these places here. Now whenever you drop an effect like this, you have to actually first of all pieces. Oh, sorry, my bad, I dropped the wrong effect. So long put. Okay, so for example, now let's just say, okay, I want to put CC lens on this. Now you see that as when I applied my effects here, you can see now effect controls, now you can see CC lens here. So now this is where now I can now edit what I actually applied here. That's why I said I was going to explain this more when I come down here. Now let's say I increase the size like this. You can understand, you can see our shoe back. Now this is how animation works. Now I say, okay, so I've seen that when I do that, this is what I get back. So I say, okay, no wahala, no wahala. What I want to do now is I want to make this reveal like that. So I know that at the end of the day, this is going to be what I want. So I'm just going to make a keyframe on our size here. I go back to the beginning here and just reduce this down to 0 and play it back. We have this animation like that. So that's just using an effect from here, editing it here, and looking at my keyframes down here. So if I hit U, you can see every keyframe that you are using. So see my keyframes down here. So now this is a basic workflow for animation. Now, okay, let's just look at some other important ones here. Align, for example, you can align your composition, your shape to the center of your composition. For this character now just deals with your text right here. So you can increase the text from here. You can change the font, Montserrat, like that. Let's just change that to shoe. And from here also you can even okay, I was at character. So from character here you can just capitalize the entire thing, and let's just increase the size like that. So, or increase the size like this. And let's just move it down. So we have this animation like this, and we don't even do much. Now paragraph is like your alignment of your paragraph. If you have multiple text, how you're going to do it and that. So content aware fill, a lot of all these ones like this now will become a little bit more technical if I'm trying to explain to you, but today's video was just to show you guys the different parts of After Effects, the different sides of After Effects, and how to do it by yourself. So okay, let's say for example now, the final thing I'm just going to show you guys is like how to render out your animations. So if you hit Ctrl M like this, you can see that your render settings is already there, and it's going to render out your full animation. Okay, I'll show you something first. So let's say for example I just have a short animation here, but my timeline is very long, 10 seconds. If I want to just render a little part of it out, I can just use this here and drag this down, let's say to 1 second here. And what that's going to do is that it's going to stop my animation after 1 second. Let's increase it a little bit more. So, like that. So where was I? So if you hit Ctrl M, you can see it that's taking you to this new dialog box down here, and the dialog box that is down here is used to render out or export. If you have Adobe Media Encoder, you can render it to Media Encoder, but if you don't, you can render it out straight from here. All you just need to do is get your output to. So when you just get a random place that you can render it to, hit on save, and you see render here, and you see queue with Adobe Media Encoder. So you can actually queue it in Media Encoder, and all you just need to do is hit render, and once you hit the render, it's going to render it out for you, no questions asked. It's very simple. Dialog box comes from here and finishes here. That means your animation has finished rendering. That means your animation has finished rendering, and Bob is now your uncle. So thank you guys for joining me in this live, especially if you are from the Catanosi Academy. I again want to apologize for the brief network outage, but I actually hope that you're able to learn something from this video today. So for as many of us that are coming from the Catanosi Academy, Jesus, okay, there's too much noise. Okay, what happens is that I'll work on the audio and upload it back tomorrow, if that will be okay with you guys. So as many of us that are from the Catanosi Academy, we'll be having a live class next week, Thursday, I think 14th of August, and yeah, it's going to be an amazing one. It's going to be a very cool class, and it's going to be at the Window on America stage at the place, and it's going to be amazing, and you guys are going to love it. So thank you guys for joining my video. I hope you guys were able to learn something today. I'm so sorry about the noise. NEPA did not bring light, and my inverter is kind of down because there was no sunlight today. So I'm sure to get that fixed before the next video. So sorry again for the noise on the audio, and love you guys, and I appreciate each and every one of you that joined this live. So between now and the next class, remember, improve every day, grow constantly, and dream endlessly. Love you guys.